Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Autoweek TV. In a minute, we'll check in on the progress of Nissan's effort to stuff the powertrain from the GTR sports car into the Juke small crossover. Today's focus is on the car's handling. But let's get started with a look at news in the car world. General Motors is contacting all the owners of the Chevy Volt plug-in hybrid to make sure they aren't spooked by a NHTSA investigation into battery fires. Any Volt owner who doesn't feel safe will be offered temporary use of another GM vehicle. This all stems from a Volt battery pack that caught fire last May, 3 weeks after the car had been put through a crash test by the government agency. Other tests on the battery pack this month showed signs of high heat. GM says it's working with NHTSA on the investigation. GM says a key factor in the fire was the fact that the battery pack was not fully discharged before the crashed car was put into storage. The clock is about to stop ticking for organizers of the Formula One race in Austin, Texas. In an interview with Autoweek, F1 boss Bernie Ecclestone says the Circuit of the Americas group has until Wednesday to sign his contract if there's going to be a race in Austin a year from now. In the interview, Ecclestone says the change of control of the Texas group prompted him to ask for additional guarantees that the race will be staged for several years. Those guarantees have been termed unreasonable by the Texas group, which signed its own version of the contract and sent that back to Ecclestone. Read the full interview and get the latest updates at Autoweek.com. Toyota and BMW are set to announce an engine swap plan during this week's Tokyo Motor Show. Press reports in Europe and Japan say that BMW is prepared to supply small diesel engines to Toyota, and in return, Toyota will give BMW technology for hybrid powertrains. Both automakers labeled the reports as speculation and would not comment. Okay, I'm sure you'll remember that Nissan's tech gurus in Europe are stuffing the twin-turbo V6 and drivetrain from the mighty GTR sports car into the diminutive Juke crossover to create the Juke R concept. The transformation is being documented in a series of web videos. Here's the latest, talking about suspension and handling upgrades for the Juke R.
The GTR is something that you can take down to Tesco's, you can drive it, you can take your kids to school and then go and beat a 911 on a Nordschleifer.
How can we get a Juke to handle like a GTR? We'll be making sure that the car is as light as possible.
The roll cage was designed by using a Motorsport Association template. And we've also taken advantage of some options on damping rates, springs and anti-roll bars.
For the brake package, the Juke R will take advantage of the 2011 larger brake disc package used on the GTR. The four-wheel drive technology in the GTR is fully adaptive, and therefore this will suit the new platform of the Juke R. Corner speed wise, we're running the same tyre setup but with different dampers and springs to compensate for the higher weight transfer of the Juke R. We'll be looking at utilising a stiffer anti-roll bar to compensate for the weight transfer of the higher bodied Juke R. The Juke R will have excellent stopping potential, which we expect to be comparable to the GTR.
Work on the Juke R is nearly complete. Now we've just got to add the finishing touches.
The real handling change they should be making is putting in some extra handles for me to grab onto should I ever get a ride in the Juke R. That wraps up today's report. You can keep up with the info coming from this week's Tokyo Motor Show at Autoweek.com. We'll see you back here on Wednesday. Until then, enjoy the drive.
Thanks for watching today's edition of Autoweek TV. Be sure to catch all the latest car enthusiast news on Autoweek.com, in Autoweek magazine, and in Autoweek's iPad edition.